see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboys fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, guess any.
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another episode of Coast to Coast. I am your host, Pags. We have Bo, McLovin, and StatGuy all here on time on a Monday. Wow, I tell you, I think this is like the first time ever that this has occurred. So
I like that Wen's bringing the heat already.
Exactly. So and it's funny because obviously, we did have some craziness that occurred last show, and I'm going to actually start off with the clip from that show because and then I'm going to go into my little bit of speech now. Something obviously happened last week that I'm going to share with you guys in just a few moments, and it does go to real life scenarios that happens for a lot of people in general. There are a number of reasons why somebody could be suffering from any form of PTSD. It doesn't have to be military. It doesn't have to be the fact that you were in a war or any type of that. There's a lot of different traumas out there that create such a situation that is what occurred last week. For those people who have not seen this, I'm going to share the clip. The clip is an interesting one, to say the least. Obviously, there was
you might have even had PTSD watching this episode on Friday.
Yes. So, but I wanted to be able to share this so that we could kind of talk about this and go about this in a little bit more in depth. I know that we talk a lot of sports, and we will get to some sports today, but I felt that after our show on Friday that this was something that not only is important to us in general, but it's important to be able to make some awareness about this and get this out there, because a lot of people deal with this, and whether they have the outbursts like we did or they keep it inside, which is what most people do, when it's kept inside, it's actually worse. So I'll talk more once the clip is over. This clip is a 3-minute clip, so you're going to get to see in full kind of what occurred, and then we will discuss it further as we move forward here. And I'm going to see if this works the way I think it will. Let's see. And if you're angry with me, talk to me face to face or
everybody hear
screen to screen here.
I done told that. Look, I don't need this shit. I really don't need this. I'm here because I like to talk sports. I'm here because I think you guys are great people. But I'm gonna sit here and watch you talk over me and then try to sit there and say I'm doing it to you. No, you want to be a man? Be a fucking man and admit where you fucking fucked up. And you've talked over me too. So don't give me this fucking horse shit and then try to come at me like I'm the fucking one doing it. That's the real man shit. And if your ass was here in front of my face, I'd tell you that shit right to your fucking face. You're a fucking asshole. And you fucking sit there and said, I did this shit when you fucking did it to me too, asshole. And you did it right here on this show. So I'll tell you that shit right to your fucking face. And you too, Stat Guy. You want to call me a coward on the motherfucker? If I was in your fucking face right now, I'd tell your ass that same shit.
I didn't even say
shit. You ain't been through what I've been through in my life. You ain't done the things I've done in my life to call me any fucking thing.
I didn't even say anything.
Now, you know what the fuck you said. That's a whole other conversation that me and you will have another day. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm here to talk sports. I'm not here to yell at somebody for doing something when I know they fucking did that same shit to fucking me. Come on, man. Call it fucking shit. Be a man and call this shit what it is. Just call it what it is. And if you don't say and tell me you didn't talk over me, then you're fucking a liar. And I'll call it to your face. You're a liar if you say you didn't do it.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to rewatch the show to see how many times I saw
this show. And I'm not leaving this show. I like hanging out with you guys, but I'm not going to go through the bullshit.
Jay,
I'm gonna keep it real.
This is a show. This is a show. This is a family-friendly show. We are friends with each other. Okay. This is part of what we do. We bust each other. Hey, I let you talk. I let you talk. Now you let me talk. Okay.
Well, you let me talk away. I'm gonna come back at you.
So it's okay for you to talk over everybody. And I just gave you your free moment. You told me to go fuck myself. And then I'm sitting here, I listened to it all, and now you want, as I start to talk, you want to talk over me again. That's what you're doing. Are you friggin' kidding me there, Jay? We are friends. We talk sports. Sometimes you like to go a little bit overboard and talk over everybody. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You do that on occasion. Sometimes I got to mute you because of it. You know, he was trying to say something 4 times. 4 times he restarted the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. And you came back out and started talking again. And And that's why I said, shut the fuck up, Jay. I meant it as a joke. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be up your ass. But when you come and attack me and tell me to go fuck myself,
when you were talking over me, the difference is when you were talking over me, I'd be quiet. And I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and be quiet. Because I'd already started the conversation. And then you talked over me. And then I said, all right, let me back up. I'll get up out of this. And then when you finished what you were saying, then I brought my same conversation back up. So at the end of the day, man, I'm just here to talk sports. Y'all want to yell at each other.
I love you, Jay. I love you. I love you.
I love you too, you son of a bitch.
All right. Sometimes brothers are going to fight. I get it. There we go. Now, I will say that even watching that just now, there's still I understand, like it's almost a little uncomfortable watching that, and at the end, of course, it kind of calmed down a little bit. I express, hey, listen, I love you. You're my brother. That we deal with these things, and like I said, it's guys are sometimes a little different. That we can express our frustrations verbally and with a lot of expletives. And typically for anybody who was watching that, if you didn't feel a little uncomfortable, then maybe that's something that you've been able to deal with a lot better than most. But I know just watching that with the people that were in this group, I still felt uncomfortable watching it, and this is something that is not just a this show situation. This happens every day around the world with a lot of people, and I felt that it was important to address this and bring it to light, and also get to more of the bottom of certain things as well, because listen, we are all brothers and we all are friends, and I don't want any more contention that happens. We're going to fight, of course, because we are brothers, but I felt that first and foremost, amongst everything else, that I wanted to bring some attention and some awareness to mental health, and that if you are having these types of feelings and you don't get to express them, reach out to us, reach out to me. I am a great sounding board. I am able to listen. And it doesn't matter if you're telling me to go F myself, if you're telling somebody else to go F themselves. If you need to get something out, there is not enough people willing to listen. And I wanted to make that announcement that we are willing to listen. We are willing to help. And sometimes just the only amount of help that you need is hearing somebody to listen to you. And like I said, there's too many times I hear too often. I've had too many friends kill themselves, commit suicide, or pass away, especially in the military. I've got a friend who used to live right across the street, used to cut my lawn, and he took his own life because he couldn't handle it anymore because these arguments were building up in his head. And one is too many. One is too many. And I felt that I needed to be able to bring this up and talk about this. I also wanted Jay to talk about this a little bit because I know that he suffers from it tremendously. And I don't like to talk about anybody's business, but this is too important to just leave it alone and just say, well, what happened Friday didn't really happen. I don't deal with things that way. I like to hit them straight on the head and talk about them and let everybody else know that if at least I am here for anybody, I'm sure that most of the panel is here for anybody as well. We may not necessarily have all of the abilities to answer or resolve some of the issues that you're feeling, but it may be worthwhile to have the conversations. And if it's not with us, it should be with someone.
Yeah, and I mean, regardless of what platform you're seeing us on, we all have DMs that you can reach out, and we can have conversations. So those are things that we're open to. So if you're watching, don't hesitate to reach out if you're in that spot.
So, and I wanted, I'm going to just kind of give Jay the floor here for a minute because I know he's got a lot to say about this. I knew just from the rest of the conversation that happened that day that he was regretful that he said some of the things that he said right afterwards. But I didn't take offense to it. I didn't need the apology because I also understand, because I am a guy who was in the military. I have one of my best friends suffers from PTSD, and unless you know him directly, you'd never even know it. And so PTSD is a real thing. And like I said, you don't have to have been in the military. You don't have to have been in a war. There is lots of ways that PTSD occurs. And I wanted to just make this, the first part of this show, make it awareness on that. Because, listen, amongst everything else, sports is in our lives and it is the background to our lives here. But it falls short in comparison to what's real life situations. And I would much rather talk real life situations than I would about a couple of teams playing and there was an outcome, whether I liked them or didn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
To Paul's point in the comments here, yeah, I mean, talking about it is a first step to working through it. So, I'm glad that you were able to do that and start to process what you were going through.
Yeah, and like I says, everybody's had a loss, and I'm gonna shut up for a few minutes, which I know is sometimes hard for me to do. I'm gonna let Jay take the floor here for a minute. I wanna kind of let him talk through this a little bit. Because ultimately, like I said, it started with him. The moment that the show was over, I thought about this pretty hardcore and knew I was going to address this and thought about this all weekend long. So this speech may have seemed a little rehearsed because it was, because I have been thinking about it all weekend, because it is something very important to me. And it is important to a lot of people. And it's hard to even sometimes even just get the right words out. So,
yeah. And I mean, we had a conversation about it for, an hour after the show, right? We jumped on the phone. We're talking about it on how it is we were going to move forward. So, I mean, it is, it's a topic that's incredibly important, not just for each individual, for the show itself. It's just for everyone that's watching. It's something that everybody has to work through. Everybody's experienced to some degree. And so, yeah, I mean, this morning seemed like the perfect time to address it.
And I'm going
mental
to,
health.
it's The floor is yours, Jay, for a few minutes. I'm going to give you the floor.
Yeah, mental health, it's a hell of a thing. We were talking about suicide and people that we know. I remember me and my wife were in where were we at? We were down there in Florida, around the Daytona, Florida area, and we were in a restaurant, and a cop calls my wife or my fiance and says, "Is Charlie Conger? Is this your son?" And she said, "Yeah, we, basically committed suicide." And the thing. Now, I don't know if you've ever had to pick your wife up off the floor, literally, but I literally picked her up off the floor, carried her out of the restaurant, 3 blocks away to where our car was. And I will tell you, that was the worst moment of my life. And, he just battled depression and didn't know how to deal with it. Certainly didn't know how to tell anybody, Pags. Like you said earlier, sometimes you never know who's dealing with stuff, until it's too late. So I do know and have been and have seen and have done all of those things that are associated with the depression and the outcomes of it. So I would encourage anybody who's having thoughts of any kind of suicide that you would reach out to somebody, whoever, 911, whoever you got to do, because it is not worth a permanent action to a temporary problem. It's just not worth it. So always have knowledge that somebody you can reach out to. Pags, I also, like I said, I do suffer from PTSD, and part of it is anxiety, frustration, depression, fear, agitation, irritation, and everything that goes along with that. So sometimes, and I'm the kind of guy that I do wear my emotions on my sleeves, and I don't have problems mixing words, and sometimes it seems to my own detriment. But yeah, obviously, I shouldn't have said what I said. I should have done what I done, and it is what it is. And I will try to do better. Like we've had those conversations before. I just it's an ongoing dealing with frustration or agitation or irritation from things that I can't seem to figure out quickly. That's been my biggest thing since probably for the last 10 years of my life. Because of this, and because of a lot of things I can't fix, a lot of things I can't go back and redo, and so. It stays with you. It stays with you, and I guess I took it out on you, Pags, the other day. Dustin, you said some things that I told you, and if we want to get into that, we certainly can do that. But you said some things that I can't apologize to you for because you said some things you shouldn't have said, and I'll let you address that if you want to address that on your own.
And we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm going to keep those.
Yeah, but other than that, that's kind of where it is, right? Depression, it puts you in a really bad hole, right? Anxiety. Not being able to control your anxiety puts you in a really bad hole. And I've been on both ends of the spectrum, sometimes in the same day. So for those of you going through it, I understand where you're coming from. I don't know what to say, Pags.
It's never easy. It's never easy to have these types of conversations, to be able to, one, show because ultimately, after it's happened, you have this great sense of remorse, and it makes you feel worse than what it was that you got out in the first place. And I know, because I have done this, I have had this happen, that outburst on my side. What you don't see from the rest of that show is, although I was able to get through the rest of the show, I became a little disconnected from that because I needed to bring myself back down. I was able to answer questions and do all those types of things, but I was much more disconnected from the show. Not that I was fully connected to that show anyways. It was a tough show to really do with. It was a slow sports day in general.
It was. But it was a rough show to begin with.
But that being said, things happen for a reason. And maybe that was the reason why it was supposed to be such a bad show, that ultimately there was a much larger message that needed to come across. And again, it's not easy to have these conversations. It's not easy to do the talking that occurs when two brothers are fighting. What it's like fighting with your sibling or fighting with your wife, and tempers get well overheated, and afterwards you feel you're still angry, but now you feel bad, and then you start to calm down, and then you feel worse, and then it just compounds, and it compounds, and it compounds, and then ultimately you feel like you're in quicksand and you're smothered. and it's too much. And I know that there's people that go through this. I know that there's people that feel this way. I know that not everybody has the words that I have to be able to share and explain it to others. And that's why I wanted to take the lead here. I wanted to be able to bring this up. I wanted to be able to talk about this. I also wanted to be able to get out all of the other stuff. And I know that the other stuff that's going on between Dustin and you, Jay, is not really dealing with us. But I also know that sometimes it's better to get it out, especially with other friends around, and do it in a way that's going to be productive rather than continue to have any thoughts that make things frustrated. And I know that Dustin has certain feelings about this. I know that this is hey, Dustin feels a certain way, you feel a certain way, and sometimes having the argument isn't the best way to go about it. Sometimes you need to be able to have certain mediators and things like that. And not everybody has the ability to do that, and that creates other stuff that happens with PTSD and depression and the anxiety and the frustrations of life and things of that nature. It's ongoing. I if you ever go on YouTube, there's this song that somebody made at one point, and it's got George Carlin and another comedian, and it's talking about that it's the big electron is what this is, that the world is, that it's the world goes round and round, and it has ups and downs, and it's very loud, and sometimes you can't hear through the noise because the noise is too loud. And that's part of the reason why I needed to be able to talk about this. I wanted you to be able to express some stuff. I want you guys to be able to talk about it more. I know that I've taken the first 25 minutes of this show and kind of monopolized it some, but I felt it was just too important to just let it bypass.
Well, and it's not like letting it sit is going to help, especially in a situation where we see each other every day. Right. So, I mean, an issue that could be underlying with somebody that, maybe you don't hardly ever see or anything like that, maybe it doesn't matter. But in this case, we're here all the time. We get to see each other's smiling faces constantly. And so, it makes sense to work through as many of these issues as we can. Because, I mean, like I've said before, you don't even necessarily have to like each other to work together, but you at least have to find a path forward.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. Like, and I mean, if y'all want to put it out there, put it out there. I mean,
Well, here's what I'm going to do, and I don't mean to cut you off, Jay.
No,
if
go ahead.
We are going to get it out, only because you were the aggressor on Friday. I'm going to let Dustin do the start of this, and then we're going to do a full back and forth here because I think it's important. Listen, we're all on the same sports show. You guys ain't getting fired, and you ain't quitting on me. So I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? We're going to get through it. We're going to figure it the frig out. Okay? And if it takes all show to do, it takes all show to do. But at the end of the show, we're going to be back on the show again tomorrow. Well, I won't be because I've got something else I got to do. But everybody else is going to be back on the show again tomorrow because, that's what we do. We are part of this show. And like I said, you guys don't get the chance to quit, and I ain't firing you. So,
well, amen to that. Because I thought Dr. Street was on the line.
So, that being said, I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to let StatGuy start this one off. I kind of know that you have an idea on what happened here. I want you to tell your side of the story here, so that we can get what your truth is. And then we're going to let Jay do it. And then we're going to do this like normal human beings do.
That's right.
Would this be like in a debate style where you're like the moderator and we're like,
yeah, exactly.
Like couples counseling. Let's be honest.
Like rapid fire counseling.
So, Dustin, the floor is yours.
So realistically, up until Friday, I completely brushed the situation under the rug, and I forgot that it even existed because it didn't bother me anymore. But there was a situation in a group chat where I was being accused of saying things that I didn't say. The more I defended myself, the angrier other people got, and it got to the point where I wasn't going to be part of the group chat anymore because it wasn't worth my time. So I left the group chat and took a couple weeks away from podcasting with some other people because I wanted to clear my head. I didn't want to be associated with a chat where I was getting accused of things that I never said because I just don't stand for that kind of stuff. And then it took 2 weeks for somebody to reach out to me from that group, seeing if everything was okay. And to Jay's credit, he was the only one in that group that basically reached out to me to check and see how I was doing and everything like that. We discussed me joining the group again, and Jay basically said that you quit the podcasting group. Everybody else doesn't want you there. And I'm like, I technically didn't quit. I literally just left the group chat just because I wanted to get away for a little bit. And then Jay's like, well, I will talk to the rest of the people about having you back on. And then every time I would bring up the conversation, Jay kept saying, I haven't had the conversation yet. I haven't had the conversation yet. I haven't had the conversation yet. So then I went directly to the other people part of the group, and they basically said, well, didn't Jay tell you that we didn't want you back in the group? I'm like, no. What Jay told me was he was going to talk to you guys about me coming back because I made certain points to Jay that I haven't made to you. And I called Jay a coward, but not actually like the coward, I think, in the way he's thinking that I called him. It was more so I called him a coward for handling the situation that he handled the situation in. If he didn't want me to be part of the group, just say that you don't want me to be part of the group. Don't keep telling me that you're going to talk to the higher ups and get back to me and then kind of keep brushing it under the rug like you don't have time to do it. If you don't want me there, just say you don't want me there and then the conversation's over. But it's the fact that he kind of kept dragging it on that I had to go to the source itself. And then that's how everything got blown out of proportion because then the other person gets pissed at me because they're like, well, didn't Jay give you the answer that we don't want you back? I'm like, not really. Jay said he was going to talk to you about it. I haven't heard from him, so I'm going to you.
Okay. We got your side of the story.
There we go.
Jay, let's get your side of the story.
Yeah, so just like I told him, I said, hey, look, he comes to me. He's got a problem with two different people. And this is not the first time with this guy. He's got a history of not being able to get along with people in chats. And granted, people, when we talk sports, we get a little tough around the edges, but I'm in the world of you got to handle your own damn problems. I'm not here to babysit problems. If you got a problem with somebody, you talk to them. Like I said the other day, you talk to me and you handle it man to man, mano to mano. You don't just leave group chats. If you got a problem, you handle out in private and come back, and you just left. And then you want me to start, you want me to handle your business. And that's not what I do. I am not here to be your babysitter. You handle your own shit. And you want me to talk to Logan? Well, I talked to Logan. And I told you, I said, they don't feel comfortable having you back in the network because you create drama. And I told you that twice. Now, there comes a point where you know what? Yeah, I kept ducking you because you know why? I done told your ass twice you don't want to listen to me. And I'm not going to be doing this back and forth shit. You put me in a very uncomfortable fucking position. I don't handle other grown man shit. You handle your own shit. Okay? And don't come in, and then you're going to call me a coward. Bro, you don't even know my life. You couldn't even call my jockstrap in combat. You'd be the first one to pee and run away. So shut the fuck up calling people cowards when you don't know who they are.
I'm going to stop right here because this isn't an attack on other people.
No, but
I wanted to hear the side of the story. I don't want to do the attack.
I apologize. I'm going to come back. But there are certain things you don't say.
So, but I understand where it's coming from. So, listening to both parts of the story sounds like the biggest part of the communication or the lack of communication was the hey, and no, like I said, I wasn't part of the privy to the conversation. I wasn't privy to the chat. It sounds like the part of the miscommunication between the two of you was, hey, you did reach out to him. to find out how he was doing, and it may have come across to StatGuy that you were going to see what could be done about possibly getting him back on there. That ultimately you may have gotten the answer that you would have gotten from that, and found it maybe a little bit more uncomfortable to be able to tell me, listen, they don't want to fucking deal with you anymore. They're just done with you, and that sucks. And there's not much else that I'm able to do in the process. At least that's what it sounds like on his side. On your side, I understand the frustration that you have, because now when he does come back into that conversation and they say, fuck you, we don't want you here anymore.
Right.
That he then turns, well, hey, was it Jay who was supposed to talk to you? I kind of talked this out with Jay a little bit. And I thought that there was going to be a little bit better of an understanding on what happened. And that didn't occur for whatever reason. And the contention comes between really the two of you, because ultimately two other people ain't really interested in hearing it.
Yep.
Well, yeah, the main reason is because Jay was part founder of the group. And when you work in a corporate world, when things are going on, whatever corporate job you have to go to the higher ups to get things settled. Jay was one of the founders of the group. So I understand that he doesn't want to handle issues, but if you are the founder of a group, you're ultimately the one that's going to have to handle the certain issues because you founded the group. That's how the corporate world works in some aspects.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you run into is the way you followed it up. I understand that you were calling him a coward in the way that he just wasn't upfront with you, right? I understand the way that you meant it. The problem is it's not how it's necessarily received.
And that's what I said at the start too, because I understand that he took it obviously the opposite way that I meant it. And then after kind of like hearing how he reacted on Friday, I kind of thought back on when I said it. I'm like, okay, he obviously took it a different way, which I'm not going to fault him for it because of everything he's been through in his life. Of course, I'm not going to fault him for it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't meant that way.
I understand you were trying to do it situationally, but he took it as an indictment of life in general.
Exactly.
And, I mean, that is very similar to walking up and calling someone a bitch. Now, some of them will shrug it off, be like, oh, okay, right. And some of them will take that and want to punch you right in the face.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some of these words, because you don't know how they're going to be received, you definitely have to be careful, because the backlash may not be worth the conversation.
I guess my biggest thing with the whole thing was how Jay said they don't want me back because of the drama that I bring to the table. What they don't understand is when I'm on a podcast, when I'm doing a live show, it's 100% about the show. It's not about anything else. When I'm doing a podcast, I don't bring drama to the table. It's literally what we're talking about and doing what we do. And that's even what I told Jay. I'm like, if they let me back on, I will stay out of the group chats. I will stay out of all the chats to avoid any unnecessary drama, because when I do shows, I'm on the show to do the show. I don't care what happens in a group chat when I'm on the show. I don't care what's happening. Like if someone's talking shit behind my back on the show. When I'm doing the show, none of that shit matters for the 2 hours that I'm on a show. Once the show's over, then that stuff can be addressed in a different way. But whenever a show is going on, everything that's happening on the outside world is in the back of my mind, because that's not what I'm focused on when I'm doing a show.
I understand that, and that's why I felt like it didn't matter to me that this happened on another show.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because you guys are on this show now, and different, because our group chat is definitely more memes and sending funny pictures to each other rather than discussing anything that's even sports related. That we do most of our sports talking here on the page. I wanted to be able to get to the bottom of this. Do I think that us talking this through is going to resolve the hurt feelings? No, I don't. I don't have that thought process. But like I said, you guys ain't getting fired and you ain't quitting.
And so, I don't have any hard feelings for Joe, and I don't have any hard feelings for anybody in that group. I guess the only thing that I wished would have happened is we would have had a fair conversation. Whether it would have been Jay, the other two guys all together in one conversation with us four. And that's what I feel like never happened. It was getting one side of things from Jay, getting one side of things from the other ones involved, but not having that conversation together, which is what should have happened, because then I could have expressed like, hey, this is how I felt. This is why I left the group chat, and this is kind of what my plans are. If you guys don't want me on, so be it. But if you want me to stay on, I will stay out of the group chat, because that's not what I originally went to that group for. I went to that group to do podcasting. I could care less about any group chats. I could care less about, and like I said, any of the outside noise that does not involve podcasting, I could give two shits about, because that's not ultimately what I do this stuff for. I do this because I like doing it. I do this because I like talking sports, and it's something that I've been involved in for years now. And I don't care about the outside noise, because that doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I mean, one thing to keep in mind a little bit about podcasting, especially, you know, as we all do it, as we're all growing, you know, is most podcasts you're on, and I wouldn't rule this one out of it, is they are your dive bar garage band, right? There's going to be drama and dumb stuff, and they break up all the time. So when one of them falls apart, don't read too much into it. It's a lot of egos that probably shouldn't even really be egos yet. So, you know, just something to keep in mind that, you know, don't put as much, don't let it weigh on you as much as you probably are, because ultimately it doesn't matter, right? There's 1,000 shows you can be on.
Yeah, like I said, like it hasn't. Up until last Friday, I completely forgot that it really even happened, because it didn't matter to me. The only thing that I just wanted to have was just a civilized conversation with everybody involved to get my point across. Because ultimately, the only points that people saw were the ones that stayed in the group chat, the ones that feel that I don't like them, the ones that feel that I don't get along with them, and then they kind of put that aspect out there that I don't get along with certain people. And I've already told Jay, and I've already told everybody else involved, that it's not that I don't get along with one of the two people that I was kind of disputing with. There's just some things that person says where it's like, okay, I got your point, but that's not what I meant. Just drop it. And that's kind of what the whole conversation started. Like, I was being accused by two separate people of saying things that I didn't say. And even when I showed them the proof multiple times that I never said what they're telling me that I said, they kept going. And I'm like, I just can't deal with this anymore. I have the proof. I showed you the proof of what I said. You're accusing me of something I didn't say. It's not worth my time to even be in this group chat anymore, to be attacked by multiple people.
So that being said, you know, ultimately the words do have weight.
Yep.
And that's where, and obviously he's been carrying that baggage. And I'm talking about you, Jay, was carrying that baggage for a minute, because he hasn't been able to have this conversation out and about. And I understood, you know, like I said, I knew right away, the moment that he was yelling at me and he segued to you, it had nothing to do with me. You know, that this was a you know, a set of luggage. You know, it is a carry-on bag that he's carrying. And sometimes those carry-on bags have some weight to them. You know,
yeah,
what I mean?
it was a Samsonite commercial, just swinging that bag around.
Yeah, and I tried to reach out, and I was trying to reach out to Jay multiple times in the last week to have that conversation with him. But every time I would reach out to him, he would never respond. So it's just like, I can't really reach out.
And I'll be honest, anything after Friday, I told him not to. You know,
no,
it wasn't the right point.
No, this is before Friday. Like, there's even times when I reached out to him before Friday to just talk to him, and he wouldn't respond. So
I mean, to be fair, sometimes you need that moderator for a conversation like this.
And I'm going to let Jay talk a second here, because obviously there's been a lot of talk coming on your side here, and I know that he's got feelings about this. So I'm going to let you go back to talking a little bit, Jay, because I know you've been listening.
Yeah, you know, it's true, man. Words do have a lot of weight, man. They have a lot of damn weight. And in my family, man, you know, that word, you got to be. That's like saying the N word to a black person. I mean, that's about how offensive it is for me or my family, right? Because my dad brought us up to be, you know, your word is your bond. You do what you say, and you're hard work at people and things like that. Good character, right? So, and yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that really did. That was probably one of the. You could have called me an asshole or any other curse word in the book, and it wouldn't have bothered me. That one right there, that one hit right at the top of the head. And I think I just had enough. So once that happened, I blocked you. I said, okay, if that's the way he's going to be, I blocked you. And I didn't. And I said, I'm done with this. And I like you said, I haven't thought about it since then. But now, obviously, we do the show together, which I personally don't have a problem. You know what? I mean, I have a problem, but I can still be on the show with you. I just didn't like the fact that you said that, and then you never. Like you said the word coward, and then there was nothing after that. It was a few more texts, and then I blocked you. It was no, I'm sorry, I should have called you a coward. Nah, fuck that shit.
No, which I get where you're coming from, but then again, like how you said, you just blocked me. How am I supposed to apologize to you if I'm blocked? If I can't physically get a hold of you,
I mean, how are you? I mean, I don't know. You just kept going on and on with this text, man. And I just had enough at that point. I just really had enough.
No, I get that, but like I said, I was trying to reach out to you last week before Friday to have just a conversation between me and you to apologize for calling you a coward, to apologize for all that happened. But if I'm blocked, I can't.
Oh no, you could have got to me through Messenger. Don't play that one.
I wasn't. No, I don't even use Facebook Messenger that much anymore.
That's not my problem. It's not maybe you should use Facebook Messenger.
Yeah, because of that conversation through the group message chat, I'm trying to avoid Facebook Messenger as much as possible, unless I absolutely have to use it.
You know what they say, man. We're all smart people. If you wanted to apologize for what you said, you could have found a way. I could have found a way, and I'm not even the most tech savvy son of a bitch in the world.
Well, that's why we're here, because we help facilitate finding the way.
That's right.
And I'm glad. Hey, I really, this is very helpful and therapeutic. And Dustin, I will get past this. This is not my end all be. I'm a lot thicker than this shit. I just want to let you know that was an offensive word that you put, and it just kind of cut me a little bit. But I'm past it, and I do love you. I do still consider you a friend, and I probably will unblock you. But if you keep fucking going after my DMs, I'm gonna block you again. So, and just know that you're my friend, and I love you, and we can talk sports all day long. And Pags, thank you, man. I really do think this really helped a lot, really.
Well, and that's what it's supposed to do. You know what I mean? We make jokes on this all the time about, hey, listen. That this is a family show. We talk. I feel like we talk more life than we do sports on here, and I feel that it's important for bullshit to get figured out. And listen, I got enough bullshit in my life. It's like I've got a girlfriend who I am fighting with half of the time. And when we're together, we're great. And when we're not together, we're fighting about the fact that we're not together, kind of. And I had to even part of my argument yesterday with her was that, are we arguing to stay together or to break up? Because I can't figure it out.
Oh, I got that. What did she say?
She didn't know either, though. That's part of the problem, because you start to get very involved and ingrained in it, where it's like, okay, what is the answer here? What is the solution?
It's almost a sport of winning. It's almost a sport of winning instead of figuring it out.
Right.
And
exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when, and going to the point of blocking, she can't even see this video right now because she's got me blocked on all her social media. I'm still talking to her. Obviously, we call and talk every day. But it's one of those things that she's learned that she can't really deal with any of my social media, and that it triggers too much of the bad stuff that she's fighting against all the time. Because of course I'm such a great guy and so easy to be with. That's not the case at all. But it does make for challenging circumstances when. It's like, hey, you're saying that it could have happened on Messenger. Truth of the matter is that realistically, the only way the two of you were going to be able to get this resolved was on this show. Absolutely. Because you guys weren't talking, and it took the outburst to realize. And I don't know if it was kind of because he poofs right around that time. Anyways, I don't know if it was accidentally or on purpose that he poofed, but I felt that it was important for him to disappear for a minute at that point so that we could get beyond the yelling, and then start to figure out the solution, because that's how I operate in general. I have to get the anger out of me before I can start to rationalize and figure out what a real solution is. And sometimes that means me yelling and screaming and carrying on and being a friggin' nut, because that's how my PTSD triggers. You know, like I said, we all have it in a certain way, shape, or form. Yeah. And I'm used to it because in my household, the one who yelled the loudest won the arguments a lot of the time, except if it was with my mother, because once I started to yell louder than her, I just got things thrown at me. And it usually was whatever was that was closest to her hand.
That's right.
You know, so but that's how I learned. I don't know another way. You know, with my mother of my children, the moment I started yelling, she would clam up. And she would go 3 days without talking to me. And then after 3 days, I would have to lose my mind for her to start to talk to me again, because I couldn't handle the non-talking. So
I hate that too, man. You guys, I feel what you're saying on that one, but the non-talking package, I'm the same way. You got to talk to me. I can't deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, so funny enough, my wife and I, we've both been married before, right? And we got together. And one of the things I told her when we first got together is like, look, guys don't get hints, period. No matter how obvious you think they are. I was like, so if there's a problem, you need to just tell me, because I can do something with that, right? You can even tell me that you have a problem, but you're not ready to talk about it. Cool.
I can do something with that.
I can do something with that, right? But if you're like, everything's fine, I am an idiot dude, and I'm like, cool. Even though I know that is total bullshit, I'm still like, okay. And I move on with my life. So, like, if we have a problem, just tell me there's a problem, and then we have a path forward. And that served us well. You know, we just had our 5th year wedding anniversary. So, and we've been together for 11 years now. So, I mean, it's a premise that, I probably needed to learn in my first marriage, where
Comcast shuts them up because Comcast really sucks. Comcast is still affecting their marriage.
Yeah, stupid. Comcast is as good at communication as I was with my first wife.
Hey, just out of curiosity, is Comcast our next sponsor now? Are they our next?
Yeah, but they got to pay us a lot of money.
Like, it would have to be next level money, and they'd have to like pipe fiber to my computer itself. Like, not even to a box. Like, I just get free fiber optics for the rest of my life kind of stuff for them to be able to sponsor the show. Because if there's one group that makes me want to tell them to go fuck themselves, it's Comcast.
Yeah, I've had Comcast before too, and I hated I'm on AT&T now, so far it's doing pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it, so we'll see.
Yeah, unfortunately for us, Comcast kind of has a monopoly on it. We have Ziply, but the problem where I'm currently at is we don't have their fiber optic. We have their DSL. So if I wanted my system to be really slow and terrible, then I could go that route. But other than that, Comcast has a monopoly on it. And
I don't know much about fiber optics, but that's what they put out here for me. They give that AT&T digital fiber optics to the house, but that's all they have out here. Like, you can't get it. AT&T is like the only one you can get out here for internet. But they give me the fiber optic cable. I don't know much about that mess, but I'm hoping that's a good thing. But so far,
fiber to the curb. Fiber to the curb.
Yep.
Yeah, I know all about it.
Starting to learn stuff on this show
that has nothing to do with sports.
Yes, that is for sure.
Well, I hope that.
Hey, oh no, the Aztecs won yesterday, though.
Well, before we start talking actual sports, I want to conclude. Because
sorry.
I feel like it's important to let's conclude. Is there anything on either side that feels like it needs to come out here So, before, because ultimately, like I said, I know that there was, some back and forth and all this other stuff. But truth of the matter is that I want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Like I said, we're all brothers. You're all stuck
Oh
working
yeah,
with
no,
me.
I mean, unless
And
Dustin has issues, I'm good, man. I think I got everything I needed to stay, and I feel better now about it. And yeah,
I was going to
don't have
say,
any issues.
the point of the show was to get it out, right? So don't harbor anything at this point. Like,
I got one thing to say. Unblock me, you old fuck.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I figure out how to complete that task, I don't know how to do the first one by accident. Hey, no, but seriously, hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. Hey, listen, I'm gonna start throwing up some hand signs. And watch this. Anytime I start to say something, the Pax talks over me, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm just gonna do this number. And when I do this, I mean, hey,
you know what? That one's a little more family. That one's a little more family friendly than the other ones you were sending up.
yeah, it's all five of them.
yeah. So, but I got an issue with the both of you. How is it that Bo is the only one that shares this out? How come that you guys, I know you guys see it up there in the corner to stream to your audience. How come neither one of you stream to your audience?
Yeah, what the
frig is up with that? We're trying to grow this show. I'm trying to get people to subscribe to YouTube and stuff like that. We're all trying to make money doing this.
I tell you what, hey, that's my fault. No, I can tell you where that I could, and I'm not trying to talk about. By the way, I was rude. I should talk over you. I want to get yelled at by Pags again. That was kind of scary the first time. But what I'm saying is I don't know why I said that, but hold on. What we were just saying. Oh,
yeah, we need you guys to help, not just cut the bottom of the blanket off.
That's what I was trying to say. It's been a while since I have done this. Because when I went in my operation, I stopped doing, and now I'm back in. So yes, I'll make sure it gets shared out. I apologize. So yes, I duly noted.
There are things. There are things on my end why I can't, and I will explain that to everybody in the group text after the show's over.
Oh, all right. Are you underground? Would you want Bahaja?
No, because there's just certain things on my end why I can't.
I just didn't know if you were on the run.
No, one of them has to do with this. I do this during my work time. Like a lot of times when I'm driving in the car, I'm driving to appointments, and my boss doesn't necessarily want me to do that, but there is other aspects of it that I'm not going to share on the air that I will share in the group text off show why I can't do it.
Fair enough.
Not that I don't want to, but there are certain aspects why I can't.
Gotcha. Good enough. We will we'll leave it be. But I had to be heard. I needed to make sure that my piece was said because like I said, this is we're trying to grow this show. We're trying to make money doing this. And I have not gotten my 2 cents from Spotify yet.
I have not
even. You're welcome to join the cruise though, because man.
I made 11 cents from Spotify in March, so we're good to roll.
11 cents. 11 cents.
Let's go.
I make. Everybody asks me how it is that I make my money, and I obviously I do have sponsors that help out. I literally I get most of my trips taken care of by Philly Sports Trips or True Fan Travel. I do commercials for different brands. I do appearances and things like that because tickets cost money. It's expensive to go to these games.
Absolutely.
And I don't get the help that everybody thinks that I do. Like, oh, the teams just give you tickets. You're a plant. I'm not a plant. You know what I mean? I got to go out there and do my thing and make that happen and try to, keep that all as one. And it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's hard, and especially when we're doing this 5 days a week, and or 4 or 3. You don't have to raise your hand.
Would you describe yourself as a rubber tree plant?
Say again.
Would you describe yourself as a rubber tree plant?
What? As I would be more the ant, not the rubber tree plant.
What are we ink blotting right now? What are we doing?
No. So no, because the Phillies end every win with Harry Callis singing "Once There Was a Little Old Ant Thinks He Could Move Our Rubber Tree Plant."
See, the Bo didn't catch that. See, because that's how you know Bo.
I did.
And even with the Bo's receded hairline, don't let it fool you. He's not
It's
that
gone,
old.
kid. It's gone.
Bo's just a little younger than we are, Pags. He didn't catch that reference. It's okay.
I don't watch a lot
I
of Philly
understand.
games.
But I tell you what, I'm going to use this as our cutoff. I'm going to go to the commercial here because once I actually download this, I am going to separate these two shows. I feel that this show was important for a lot of different reasons. I wanted to be able to not just clear the air on the show, but again, really, it's important if you are in one of these situations that we've spoken about, and you are having those challenges in your life where you don't feel heard enough, or the frustration is mounting, or you're even further down the list where you are just being crushed personally by your own mind, and it's bothering you and you can't seem to get it out, please, if you don't reach out to any one of us, please reach out to somebody. It is very important. One is too many. One person suffering from this is too many. And not that anybody has all the answers, but just sometimes being heard is answer enough. And I know that's what it means the most to me, that sometimes it's not a matter of whether my feelings are going to get resolved in the process of this. It matters that I get it out and I can get rid of it, because ultimately the piece that's causing the problem is always going to be there until you can expel it. And it doesn't get expelled that easy most of the time. If you think about how soft of a word coward is and how triggered it could be. Just like calling a woman a bitch. You call a woman a bitch and that's going to trigger some people. You use the N word to a black person, or a person of color, and that's going to trigger them. There are different words that are going to trigger anybody, and we don't know it. We won't know those words until they're triggered.
Exactly.
And then you look back and you don't even realize what triggered them, because usually that's in the context of so much other stuff.
And it usually brings up a lot of other stuff, because that trigger generally attaches so many battles that they've not paid attention to. So it'll carry way more firepower than it probably even should have, because every frustration then gets piled on to whatever that trigger was.
And that's why I felt that this was just too important to just let it slide and not. We had to have this conversation. If for anything else, the few people that have watched this now, but a lot more people that are going to watch later, because I put that video out on social media. It was like, hey, people should watch the old show and what was going on. Although that show sucked, I think, for a lot of reasons, because we weren't talking about sports most of the time.
But when I put it out, I on my side, I said, watch Friday's show at hour mark, 1 hour, 20 minutes and 20 seconds. Cause that's when it really just started to hit the fan. I was like, so you have an idea what this show is going to be about. Start at that, minute marker and then tune in this morning.
But ultimately, I have to imagine that there was a lot of what it is that I was doing, being disengaged, and then all of a sudden trying to engage myself at the wrong time, and then telling him to shut the F up. And then next thing you know, it's a big war. He goes off and he comes back. We have the blow up. I mean, there's a lot that went into what occurred today. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate everybody here to talking it out, Hey, listen, guys don't ever get to talk about their feelings. You know, our feelings don't matter. And you're right.
Feelings, but the
The truth of the matter is that our
watercolor
feelings don't matter except to us.
That's true.
And that's the problem. That our feelings do matter to us. And your feelings
They
do
do.
matter to
They do.
me. You know,
And your
so
feelings
that's
matter
why I
to
went
me too, Pags. And so do you, Stat Guy. And, oh, sometimes.
Zero
That being
times,
said-
it's fine.
That being said, we are going to take our station identification break, and we will be back in just a few moments. So please stay tuned, where we might actually start talking about sports.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this
Oh, I'm
team.
ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face. Oh, from Brooklyn. Hey, get us any.
Trisha's having a sleepover tonight. Can I go?
I wonder about Lucy's friends. What should I say? I know you're only 10, but one of these days a friend will offer you a drink. And alcohol at your age can lead to so many things. None of them good.
So can I go to the sleepover?
Lucy, I want you to promise me
I
something.
finished my homework.
Bigger promise. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
Mom.
I promise you. Your real friends won't care. Deal?
Sure.
Really?
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. A public service message from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Sometimes, all you need to change your life is a sign. A sign that says, "Hank, this is the place you've been looking for." And sometimes that sign is an actual sign that's mounted to a building. One second, I'm looking at a sign. I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't love B-dubs just because I'm a buffalo with wings. Frankly, that's offensive and reductionist. Cause this place, come on. It's like they took beer and made it into a place and then gave that place sports and chicken wings. And the people, Cuba, the best. Oh! What the is going on, Marty? This isn't a game, this is trivia! Yeah, this place is kind of like heaven. You know, without needing to get hit by a bus. Let's go, sports bar!
Supporting the needs of our veterans. That's the goal of all of us at Team AmVets. Like Mitch, Carlos, and Kevin from our Welcome Home team that brings furniture to our vets.
We are Team AmVets.
Or Linda from our thrift stores who brings you great bargains every day.
I am Team AmVets.
And John, who picks up your thrift store donations that support California veterans programs.
I am Team AmVets.
Visit our website or a Team AmVets thrift store to donate or shop today.
Join the team!
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
All right.
And we're back. So, that all being said, how was everybody's weekend?
Yeah.
Good. So actually, the weekend was pretty cool because on Saturday I got to coach at the Tyler Lockett Pro Camp. Right.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
Yeah. So that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. It was funny because going into it, there wasn't a whole lot of information. So I wasn't even really sure what I was doing, even once I arrived. Right. We had to wait till the coaches meeting, and then they went over everything. Basically, how it broke down was we had drills for the kids, and then they broke it up from there was like 3 different age groups that they kind of broke everyone into. And then I think there was like six coaches per age group. Right. And so the first group timing type thing, we did drills. Right. So that was pretty cool. And then we did a 40-yard dash timed. And then after that, we ran 3 different 20-minute football games where you rotated who you were playing each time, obviously within the age groups, right? We didn't have, our 8-year-olds playing 13-year-olds or anything, but although would have been funny, we did not do that. And the kids got, signed cards and pictures with Lockett and all of that. So it was a pretty cool experience overall. And then, we were wrapped up by about 12:30. And then I got to start the most ridiculous drive home because it turned out Joe Biden was in town and destroyed every road between my house and where I was.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I know how that works.
Yeah. Overall, it was fun. Yeah.
Well,
what about you guys?
So Saturday went and got me a mani patty. It was pretty good. Not too bad.
Right.
You got to treat yourself every once in a while. I don't care what it is. Treat yourself.
So you are a Williams fan. I got you. What color name is it?
I believe if you take care of yourself and make yourself feel good, you'll live a long life, Bo. You'll live a long life. But no, so it was a good time, man. The Astros won yesterday, 9-3. I don't know how. For the love of God, we're out of last place. I don't know how long that's going to last. So, and really, the crazy thing about it is, though, Bo, I was telling myself the other day, we're 6.5 out of first.
Yep.
It's really not unrealistic. I just don't know if we can actually pull it. So I don't want to get too into that. Like, yeah, we can do that. When I just feel like you know what I mean? Like, I don't set myself up for like, oh.
There's so much baseball left. 6 games isn't a big deal at all. Like 6 games is one cold streak from being there. So, I mean, 6.5 games isn't enough to matter. Now, if you're the White Sox and you're already 13 games out, that's a different animal. But 6.5 games, that's nothing.
Yeah, so we'll see how that works. I still don't. I'm just not a fan of our coach. This is Spada guy. He came out of New York. He's out of that area of coaching. And Frankie, I talked to Frankie about him. He said he didn't like him either because he worked for the Yankees. I think he was a bench coach or is it a bench coach or a first? It was one of their coaches and for the Yankees, and he said he didn't like him. So I don't know about him. Obviously, we're off to a really terrible start.
Oh, that's right. We had the Aurora out there. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I went outside looking for that dang thing. I think y'all are making that crap up. I couldn't find a damn light other than a street light.
You were far enough south. I think they would have been next to impossible to see. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Plus, I'm sure there's too much light pollution
for sure
in the Houston area.
I got 4 good pictures of the Northern Lights that I can send you guys later.
Right on.
I didn't realize that there was any Northern Lights happening. So I did the big climb for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Awesome.
And,
how was that?
So I thought we'd have to climb a wall.
Oh, it's stairs.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought we were climbing the big wall. I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. I'm going to climb a wall for the first time. No, that wasn't the case. It was just going up and down steps. So, and I took a lot of pictures. I hung with a lot of the teams. It was for a great cause. I'm always excited when I very rarely ask for donations to a charity just on my page. And I was able to raise like $115, which was awesome, in just that one post. So it was great for, that. And I appreciate everybody who donated money to that. And then that night, so I come home, take off the football pads and the football gear, and I paint myself up as the Philadelphia Phoenix, which is ultimate Frisbee.
Nice.
and I go to watch an ultimate frisbee game. And it would have been great if the game ended at the end of the first quarter. Because we were up like 5-2, and I think it wound up being 5-4, and we lost 19-10.
Oh wow!
And it got cold, and it got really cold. So, but it was a lot of fun. I love, I love going to different games and different sporting events. You know what I mean? Ultimate frisbee is not something that I've ever played. I have played frisbee golf. I think I have showed you guys my discs, my driver, and my putter at one point. I still got them close by here because I haven't moved.
Yeah, I love that. I love frisbee golf. It's the coolest. Because when I lived in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, not even in my neighborhood, they had a big frisbee golf course. I mean, it went all the way down the hill and over the lake and all kinds of. Man, that was a good time.
I love it when they go down hills. Like when you're playing frisbee golf and you go down a hill, it looks like you're throwing it so far, but really it's the back.
It's the drop. Yeah.
No, but you ever had a frisbee come back? I did one time and it came back out. I was oh shit, duck.
When you
throw I've never had that problem.
It came back.
Oh, that's funny.
When you're throwing it, throwing it like almost like a boomerang.
Yeah.
It goes all the way up in the air and it comes
All I know is
down.
it came back and I thought I was gonna take my head off because it came right at my head. I was like, oh shit. But lots of fun though.
For those that are watching, the big climb they do in just about every city. If you're here in Seattle, they do it at the Columbia Tower, and it's 69 flights of stairs. And so it ends at the observation deck, which overlooks all of Seattle. It's pretty cool. So ours always happens in March, but it's worth doing. So
is that a national thing, though, or is that specifically just in Washington?
No.
The
national is a national thing, and I highly recommend it if you haven't done it in your city, regardless which city you're in. It's for a good cause. Absolutely do it.
Yeah, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I mean, so for those that do know the Philly Sports Guy or whatever, the month of April and May there is a lot of charity events that I tie myself to. Obviously, this Saturday I'm doing the Eagles Autism Walk.
Awesome.
Where, I'm there and I'm walking a 5K. I typically run the 5K because I tell you, you want to take a picture with me before, because the after looks bad. I look like a drowned rat.
Melted crayon.
Yeah, it's just like it gets a little messy, but I do it live. So I'll go live on this page. I StreamYard it out and kind of show like all the different players that I run into and all these different things. They actually do a bike ride too, but I don't know how to ride a bike, so I don't do that. But I run 5K. I look like a drowned rat afterwards. And then you get to go on the field and you get to hang with everybody. And then they have like a VIP section where you can meet the players and stuff. So it makes it's a fun day for a good cause. But yes, I do a lot of charity work, in these next, this month and last month, just to kind of raise money and awareness and things like that. It's part of my way of giving back to the community because I don't have a lot of money. Because when you have to buy all these tickets to things, you kind of tend to be broke most of the time.
It's an expensive lifestyle, but it's a fun one, ain't it?
Yeah, but I have time. Time is the greatest commodity the most expensive commodity that you can't ever get back.
You're right. You are so right about that.
So that's part of it. So and Lee says, I know that they have different charity events. I mean, I was, last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before that, I did something for it was around Citizens Bank Park. It's killing me now. It had more to do with like breast cancer and things like that, cancer awareness. So there's been a lot of different cancers and autism. Usually April and May is charity months. So lots of different charities that I like to be a part of, and most of them I like to deal with the kids because the kids are the ones that really get to benefit from me being there. Adults like to take pictures too, but the kids really are the ones that get excited. I love hearing the stories that I signed a kid's either cleats or croc. Yeah, you've made it when you've signed a croc.
Yeah. The most useless shoe in the world.
And then they put that croc on a shrine in their room.
That's pretty cool.
So that's one of those things where it's like it's 5 seconds or 10 seconds of my time that I never remember.
Yep.
And that they never forget.
Exactly.
And it's awesome to kind of have those moments and have those, have the parents come tell me about it, that they are so grateful for the fact that I just spent those few seconds of time. And it's like I wish I could remember the few seconds of time with your child specific, but there's so many of them that they all blend together. So
that's what she said.
All the time, that's what she says. So yeah, we talked about this on Sunday. Do you guys have an opinion on the fact that they're going to try to make a television story out of this Ohtani situation?
How they covered up him knowing anything about it? I mean, I guess it'd be interesting.
Well, I figure this story is going to be perfect. Why not lie to show everybody what's really happening? Let's lie about the story, and then everybody will know that lie, and we don't have to talk about it ever again.
Exactly. Yep.
Nope, kind of like the moon landing.
Yeah. No, this seems like a waste of airtime. Is what that TV show sounds like.
Yeah, I just I'm curious to see what's going to eventually come out of all of this, Ohtani. I mean, this baseball at some point is going to have to weigh in on it at some point, aren't they?
No,
I think they're actively just brushing it under the rug, hoping people forget about it.
Oh yeah, but they won't do that for Pete Rose. What a
Pete Rose make sure they don't forget about it.
That's the thing, is he can't shut up. It might have actually worked itself out.
2 podcasts that he's done since this whole thing happened, he's going to make sure that Major League Baseball don't forget about it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't such a douche canoe, he probably would be in the Hall of Fame right now.
Right. That's the problem. I feel like that he's too much of an ass.
Mm-hmm.
But then he goes back.
But at least he knows. At least he knows. Yeah, he'll get in the moment that he's dead.
Yeah, and that's right. I believe that too.
They may hold him out just for spite. Be like, even in death, go fuck yourself.
Well, if he lives for another 5 years, I think he's going to get in.
Say again?
Yeah.
If he lives for another 5 years, I think he's going to get in.
Why?
I think what Pags is saying, I believe that. I think Major League Baseball would wait until after he's dead.
Because that's
but
when
I think we're both right too. Maybe they just don't let him in or anything. They just say never.
I think that's
Rob Manfred's contract is up in 5 years, and the one that is rumored to be next in line to replace him is Theo Epstein, who has been one of the biggest supporters of getting Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. I mean, okay.
I thought they were gonna put Marge Schott as the new.
I thought so too, but then Theo Epstein was Rob Manfred's right-hand man the last 2 years before going to Boston again this year. But the reason he did that was because they felt that he was going to be next in line to replace Rob Manfred because of all the changes that baseball went through last year with like the bigger bases, the pitch clock, and all that kind of stuff. That was all Theo Epstein's ideas. that they all implemented, and that's why everyone thinks he's going to be the new commissioner, because now he's throwing out all these ideas. Rob Manfred in the league is running with these ideas. You're not going to really have somebody throw out all those ideas for you if you don't really think he's going to have some sort of impact later on.
Yeah, I didn't realize a lot of that was his ideas. So, I mean, it's a real possibility he could be the guy then.
Because even Theo's made the case before that he's like, he understands like what Pete Rose did. He understands that obviously it was a disgrace to the game. Then at the same time, he's like, you still can't overlook the numbers he put up as a player, regardless what he did.
And if that's the case, and he goes ahead and he brings everybody into the Hall of Fame who deserves to be there, then I am all for it. Because as of right now, I still hate that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, sure. I think he will, because he's looking at the same thing with Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer with or without steroids, because he was going to be a 500 guy. He was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer without steroids. Roger Clemens was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer without steroids. Like Theo has been has been every single one of these guys for like the last 5-6 years, basically being like, I understand your thoughts on why you want to keep them out, but you need to stop leaving your personal vendettas in charge of the situation. You actually have to look at the body of work that they did before they got caught for all this stuff. And the body of work alone is what have got these guys into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Here's the one person that I still have the question mark about with everything. Jose Canseco. In or out?
Oh, I think he will get in, but I think he will get in the same capacity as the rest of them. I think Jose Canseco will more so get in with an asterisk as opposed to the other ones. I think will just get in to get in, just because Jose Canseco, it was because he kind of threw everybody under the bus. Had he not,
what would it say? Biggest snitch in baseball. Who just got a big plaque of Jose Canseco right underneath it.
And then I think he
hit 504 home runs and had one go off his head.
Exactly.
Yep. Had he not thrown everybody under the bus, I think he would have had a better shot to get in.
That's why I wonder. I wonder if he's going to be the one that they leave out.
I don't think they'll leave. I don't think they'll leave him out. I think they'll put him on kind of that new list that they created, like that. Is it like the exemption list where you can have some players voted in? Like last year, it was Harold Baines and somebody else got voted in without the actual Hall of Fame vote. It was like a separate list that they put together where you could get voted in. I think Jose Canseco gets put on that list as opposed to the actual Hall of Fame list.
Yeah, because that's that. Basically, you've expired your 10 years of eligibility, and so it's their way to go kind of backdoor and still get you in. It's how Sheffield's going to get in, right? Like
I think that's how Canseco gets into. I think he gets put on that as opposed to the rest of them will get voted in.
Yeah, I could see that.
Hey, Paul, no offense, but I knew exactly the Eagles' opponents the last game of the season after we won or lost, and I found out what place we were in, and I found out what place everybody else was in. So, yeah, we've known the opponents forever.
It's just the dates that we have been waiting on.
Yeah, I actually, I'm trying to find whatever leak I can. There's no leaks.
I mean, you know what the first 2 games of the year are. That's it.
Yep.
Well, we know what the first game of the year is officially, again, and where it's at and who is going to be playing at home. That's it. We don't know who they're even going to be playing against.
Baltimore or Kansas City on Thursday night to open the year.
Yeah.
Oh, they said Baltimore already?
Yeah. That came out earlier.
League last night. So Baltimore and Kansas City to open the year, and then Philly and Green Bay on Friday. So those are the only 2 games that have been leaked so far.
Right. And they'll leak, I feel like on Tuesday, they'll leak out the European games.
Yep, they usually do that first because the whole travel planning that goes into that.
Right. And then after that, Wednesday, they say it comes out at 8 o'clock, but at 2 o'clock, everybody will know the entire schedule.
And for the second straight year, Jacksonville will have back-to-back games in London.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically home field for them anyway at this point.
And I guess one of the matchups is supposed to be Chicago versus Jacksonville, because that will count as Chicago's home game. and then the other game that Jacksonville's there would count as Jacksonville's home game, and they'd say that it might be the Tennessee Titans for that one. So that would be the first time there's actually a divisional battle in London.
I tell you, Brian, I'm not sure, actually. I am not sure what I'm going to be doing. It's been obviously I've been talking to people at the Eagles to find out like what they're going to do and how they're going to do this. It's weird that of course they choose a stadium that green is banned, and they got one of the teams got green in the name. You know what I mean? So.
All I know is Pags would have some really good fillets on his butt. I bet you guys got some fillets. So got those chef.
Yeah, thank God I know how to build some of those gaucho things the way that they do those. I've actually when I was a mason, I learned how to build them. Because they're actually cool to actually be to cook on. But that being said, I have no idea. What's going to happen. Now, obviously, there are teams that go in there with green numbers. They've had green numbers in there, played in there. So they just don't wear the color green. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like digging my own hole.
Wow.
But that being said, I mean, so it's probably going to be white versus yellow. Or the only other thing I could think of is that the other team, when the other team comes in, that when they play soccer there, the other team that comes in, they wear their green.
It'll be black versus white. The Eagles will wear their blacks.
They're not going to wear the blacks. Not going to wear the blacks. No.
Probably
so the black jerseys, the black uniforms is too big of a deal in Philly for them to use it. So I don't think that they would use it there. They may. I mean, the Philly, the organization may.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, they may wear it twice, I guess.
Well, they normally do wear it twice, but that would be the only thing I could think of. And now that they got the third, this third helmet type of situation, they can use 3 helmets now. It may be that, but I don't know. The black might be way hot down there, I would think.
Yeah, maybe they just make everybody wear the stupid foam helmet caps.
I'm telling you, Brian, there's going to be enough people down there wearing green for both Green Bay and the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
So they're not going to just say, hey, no, you can't come into this stadium. There's way too much money that's getting put out there. Now, I also know that Sao Paulo has a number of different teams in it. It's not just that one team. It's not just that one stadium there. It just so happens to be the one stadium we're playing at.
Yeah, there's like 5 stadiums there because that was where the World Cup and the Olympics were both used. So they have like 5 different stadiums they could have technically used.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a full expectation that I have that everybody's going to be able to wear their green around there. It's just the stadium specific that's causing the issue. And I mean, I guess we'll see. We will see. But I have enough white jerseys and black jerseys that I can go ahead and use that. I just couldn't wear the shoulder pads.
Oh, yeah.
Because none of those are game jerseys. So I'd have to work out from the Eagles getting a game jersey.
Did you see the
I would like to. I raised my hand.
Yeah, but he's driving. You can't tell.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jen.
No. Hey, real quick. I'm just saying, like, so I think if you follow Brian's advice, you might wind up a prisoner somewhere. I just have a feeling that you're going to be locked up someplace that they can't find you because they kidnapped you and hold you for ransom or something.
Well, listen, the show will still have to go on. In fact, then we'll use the show as the platform to raise the money to try to get me out. At that point, Brian should be okay with me doing a GoFundMe to get out of Brazil.
But hey, here's the deal, though. You wearing green in a stadium that is banned green is like Brittany Griner going to an airport with marijuana saying she didn't know that she had it in there. Come on, Pat.
The funny thing is Brian would probably be doing a GoFundMe to keep him down there.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to give him money for them to kill him. Yeah, and you're right, Brian. I cannot go through customs painted up because the facial recognition would not work.
Yep.
I am told I can't go into casinos painted up. I can't go into an airport painted up. I can paint up at the airport after I've gone through security. But I cannot do it beforehand. The facial recognition does not work. So I have to be unpainted initially.
That's right. He can't be down there as a dude, dressed as a dude, disguised as another dude.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, listen, yeah, I'll be getting skinnier and skinnier. Yeah. What about church? No, I do not accept the sacrament that way.
Man, that's
I'm not as religious. I'm not as a religious guy either, though. So it's like I don't ever talk bad about religion. But I don't ever.
Are you you're a Catholic, I would assume, correct? And I'm assuming.
I was born and raised Catholic.
Okay.
I
I
don't typically talk about religion because I feel a whole different way than most people.
Oh yeah. But did you ever do
I ain't a
thing like
Scientologist. I ain't any of those other religions. I'm not a Pentecostal. I'm not a Baptist or anything like that. I just.
But question though, but when you were coming up as a child, and did you ever go and confess to the priest that little confessional? Like, did you have to go inside that little cabinet thing?
Yes.
Because that would freak me out.
Hey, but at least when we were coming up, they gave you actual wine instead of the juicy juice they do today.
I did that. I did that in high school, actually. In high school, for my 1 year, I went to a Catholic private school. And I instead of Lent, I'm not a quitter, so I don't like to quit anything for Lent. But for Lent, instead of quitting something, I went to 40 days of church. And because I would do the 40 days of church during Lent, and there was only like 6 of us in the mass, they allowed us to accept both halves of the sacrament, the host and the blood. So I got to drink wine every day before school.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Pag said, "I'll take a glass or two, please."
You're right, Brian. I did not give up the face paint for Lent.
So did you guys see the thing that NFL put out today? If you want to watch every football game this year, so that includes the ones that are going to be on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Peacock, NFL Sunday Ticket, like every single game, if you wanted to watch every single game, it's going to cost $950 to get every single game to watch.
Challenge accepted. I'm headed to the bar.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm spending it
Why
anyway.
is it so back in the day, you could watch football on 3 channels. 3 channels.
Yep.
ABC, CBS, whatever. Now you got like about 1,000 different apps, and it's just so complicated to watch football these days. Or find where your shows are.
But that wasn't the NFL Plus, right? Like I never did the NFL Plus, but this year I am going to do the NFL Plus because I was told that with the NFL Plus, you get all the different camera angles. So you get like the practice, ones that they use for practice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at that point, because there's no broadcast, you can kind of use them as clips and stuff like that.
So that,
and they also have depending on the team, they have helmet cam too, I believe.
Yeah, so that part's not entirely accurate, because it's still an NFL broadcast. You technically would still have to get written consent from the league, whatever, right? So essentially, if our show ever got enough notoriety, they could essentially shut that down and make you pay NFL Films to be able to use those clips.
Okay.
Now, they don't really pay attention to it if you're using a minute or less, right? But if you use anything longer than that, they can absolutely sue you, right? I mean, technically, the way that the way that the league's kind of bylaws are as far as even viewership, if you're viewing it on more than, I believe it was a 55-inch screen, they can actually block you from that because it could be to rebroadcast in front of other people. So they actually went after a church, I think it was 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, because they were accepting donations to their church and they were just showing the game, right? They weren't charging you. They were just accepting donations, and the NFL actually shut them down. So
wow.
if you get on the NFL's radar, that is somewhere you don't want to be.
Roger Goodell's going straight to hell.
I mean, that's not him directly. That's their legal team. But
their legal team's going straight to hell then. Somebody's going to hell over that one.
It's an amazingly profitable nonprofit.
Well, it's a nonprofit because at the end, the balance is zero. And that means if they made any money, that Roger puts it in his pocket.
Hey, it's not a bad hustle.
No, not bad at all. I would love to have it. You know, I'd love to have his job.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't?
Absolutely.
Hey, listen, not for nothing, though. He's good at what he does.
He is. He makes those owners an insane amount of money. And I mean, honestly, that's his job. That's what it is to keep making them more money. And he's done exactly that. Realistically, I could argue that he's probably the best commissioner in pro sports.
Across the board.
Yeah. I would
say
agree
that
with that.
until they got caught.
Say it again?
Used to be FIFA until they got caught.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I do think the NHL commissioner does a good job, though.
Frig him. I hate Gary Bettman.
I like that you picked this point in the show to censor yourself. We're an hour and 40 in. We're like 400 F-bombs later.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Gary Bettman. I think that he's an asshole. I don't like the fact that they always give Chicago the #1 pick. I know that they straight out cheat that whole lottery system. It pisses me off. Fuck him. Bald-headed prick.
Way to come back, Pax. I knew you could do it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him. I mean, I don't really care for basketball's commissioner either.
Silver?
Yeah, he's a dumbass too. But you know, baseball is okay. You know, like it's like I don't mind. I am surprised that there has not been more calls about blocking the plates.
Yes.
Than there has been. I mean, I thought that would be a big deal. No, not any. There's been no games that have been decided by a weirdo block of the plate, which I thought there would be by this point.
I think it's got to be too much.
They just really haven't called it much.
No, actually, what they are calling a lot more, and I was watching the stat on this, is that they are calling a lot of catcher interference. And that the catcher interference this year is likely to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 catcher interference calls, because catchers are now all the way up on the plate.
Exactly.
And it's actually, they're putting their glove out there, and it's actually interfering with batters.
So, in fact, 2 days ago, I forget which catcher it was. He was just far enough forward that the bat ended up hitting him in the forearm and broke his arm.
Yep.
Yeah. So so I mean, they're moving as close as they can to try and frame pitches, to try and steal strikes, essentially. But you're getting these interferences, and of course, at this point, you got someone breaking their arm. That makes you think that some of them catchers are going to see that and be like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go back to where I'm not getting hit with a baseball bat,
which was about 3 foot away.
Yeah.
So. And Wilson Contreras was the guy who got his arm broken.
Yep.
I don't know. I kind of look at that, like these framing of pitches. They determined that umpires this year have made, out of 100% of the calls, that the smallest amount missed throughout any of them was like 12%. that 12% of the calls of balls and strikes
are wrong,
are being missed, and that's the smallest amount.
Sure.
I think
Put out Angel Hernandez, and you got 35 to 40%.
I was going to say, I feel like you take the top number and rule it. So you get rid of Angel, and then you get your best one, you rule him out, and then you take the average from there, right? Like any true averages.
Well, I'm not even talking the averages. The average is at about 20-some%.
Yeah. No, I could see that.
It's 12% of the pitches being made are called improperly. And they only really announce it when an umpire misses 25 to 30 calls a game. Because you got to think about it. Most of the pitches, you combine all the pitches that are being thrown, there's usually somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 pitches being thrown each game.
Yep.
Sure.
About an average. So 10% of that is 30 pitches being called wrong.
Yeah.
At 300.
That's one inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
So it's coming more and more likely that I think that they're going to go to the automated box.
Yeah, I think the guys like Angel that stay employed have almost guaranteed that happens.
Well, yeah, and Angel has actually done himself such a disservice this year that the union has actually got to take action at the end of the year.
Why was he so bad? Why was he doing that on purpose, or was he just not good?
You can't. He's never going to admit that he's doing it on purpose.
I mean, you gotta almost.
I know he won.
You gotta almost be doing it on purpose. It's almost like he has like a side bet of, hey, I wonder how many calls I can get wrong today before anybody says anything.
Like even at first or third when he gets the appeal and he gets them wrong.
Right.
It's such a mess.
Like it's not,
Say it again.
I said it's not like he's missing borderline calls. Like you look at some of these calls that he's making; these things are 3, 4, 5 inches out of the strike zone.
I've seen one hit the ground. The catcher didn't get it and be a strike.
Yes, it bounced.
Yeah.
There's been a few of those bounces. There's a couple of umpires who have done that lately. And it's getting worse and worse.
It's crazy. I mean, they're basically guaranteeing that switch happens. You're still going to have all the refs on the field, though. I mean, you're still going to have somebody at home because when plays go to home plate, there's got to be a ref there. So I mean, you're still going to have the same amount, but your balls and strikes calls that's going to be automated for sure.
That's kind of funny.
Pretty much.
Yeah, when he does the dance.
Oh, good. That actually was pretty funny.
I mean, you're definitely dating yourself by saying the Naked Gun, but
yep.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like that it's only it's got to happen next year, and like I said, Angel has done himself such a disservice that he is going to have to get let go by the union. Then the union's got to do it. He's not going to get let go this year, but they are going to remove him from being able to do this. Send him to the senior league where they can't see anyways.
T-ball.
Hey, by the way, I know I'm switching gears here, but I finally watched that Tom Brady roast the other night, and wow, I couldn't believe that. I mean, that was some crazy stuff. But it was good.
I've not watched it.
Wow.
I have not watched it a little bit.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit?
I haven't even seen any of the clips. I saw one clip where Brady said, don't talk any more of that shit.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
It was interesting. And yes, there were some tense moments in there. And then there were some comments. You're like, the one I thought was the best was a Drew Bledsoe. I thought Drew was a good sport, but like he really, played it out well. But
he was also hammered.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because Wouldn't you be hammered if you're like the shittiest one and you got fired? I mean, he's gonna be the butt end of a roast. I mean, I'd get hammered too and be like, hell with it.
Yep. He got to advertise his wine though, because that's what he sat there getting wasted on.
Yeah. Hey, that's okay. Hey, that's a business move. Damn it.
Yeah, you know it.
Hey, I get it because I'm about to do something very, very similar.
Yep.
I can't release it yet, but it's coming. It's coming.
You're gonna go get an old school 40 and rename it Pags? What?
No. I can't talk about it yet. It's actually the reason why I'm not going to be able to be on the show tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So I have to go through all of the paperwork to make sure that I can call it what I want to call it. But there may be a new sponsor that is not going to give us any money, but a new sponsor to the show.
Right on.
Especially because it's me that's sponsoring it. So, but yeah,
That's cool though. All right.
Because trust me, when it gets out, I think it's going to go wild.
We shall see.
Yeah, Grunk is always wasted, I feel.
Sports juice guy. I like it.
Hey,
oh man, they were killing him
juice box
being
guy.
Neanderthal and not being able to read.
So, yeah, but it's like I said, I will talk about it when I can, and once this paperwork is all filed and I'm legally able to talk about it.
Okay.
It's a illegality thing at the moment.
Absolutely.
But it's coming. It's coming, and when it hits, it's going to hit. Well, I'd have to send bottles to you guys. I don't know what the. You can't buy it. I can only send it to you.
Perfect.
Roger that, Ghost Rider. Hey, did y'all see my Stars are up 2-1 over Colorado?
Are they?
Yeah, I need to watch this more. I'm gonna watch. They're gonna be playing tonight. So I'm gonna catch it tonight on ESPN. It looks like 8:30. They go for Game 4. Wow. Okay. Rock on.
Yeah, not this Saturday. This Saturday is the 5K. See, this is what I'm talking about. People always want me to do something, and it's like I can't do something when I'm doing a 5K.
Now it's always funny because a lot of times it'll be like, oh yeah, it's like Wednesday, and they're like, hey, can you do something on Friday or Saturday? It's like, I don't know how your schedule works, but like, I actually have to plan stuff.
Yeah, no,
like,
I totally get that.
Do a lot of impulsive items. Like there's usually enough on the schedule that it's like, oh yeah, can you do this thing, tomorrow? It's like, I sure can. Or like when you get a buddy that gives you a call and they're like, what are you doing? It's like it's the middle of a day and a work day. What the hell do you think I'm doing? Like, what is it you're doing?
Yeah. Not only is it the Eagles Autism 5K, it's also like a baseball game. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I have a very busy Saturday.
So that kind of can go either way, Paul. Sometimes they'll let them keep the bat. Sometimes they will give them a bat later. If it happens to be a player's like favorite bat or whatever, they'll get it back. But a lot of times if you get struck by a bat, they'll give you a bat before you leave.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah, you're not allowed to keep it while you're in the stands.
Exactly.
But they do give it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, I saw that Bronny was selected by the Lakers in the second round of the Sears draft on a mock. It was a mock draft, obviously. And what do you guys think about that? Do you think that we might see an actual unification of Bronny and Bron?
That's the only way he's going to get drafted.
Yeah, it's literally the only way.
Right.
He will not be drafted. He could be the 60th pick in the draft, but if the Lakers aren't picking, he's not getting drafted.
I don't think that's not true. That's not true. I think that there is a thought process going around Philadelphia that they may choose him with their second round pick.
And you could drag LeBron with him.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be the only way you take it, is if you could force LeBron's hand. Like, hey, we're going to take your kid, but only if you're coming.
Well, not only that, but there's the conversation that his youngest son is great basketball player, probably the best of all of them.
Yeah, his youngest son is ridiculous.
And there is a school up here that's always ranked in the top 5 out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
That he would go to school and attend school there if Bron was to come here. So there's that aspect of it that makes sense. That Bronny is going to be the 12th man on the bench, and maybe, just maybe, they could actually put together the right team, since there's only 2 players on the team right now.
Yeah.
There's only Joel Embiid and Maxey. That's it. Everybody else is an unrestricted free agent.
Okay.
So there is a distinct possibility that they're going to be able to put together a team that would wind up going to a championship. And if you put those 2 guys and then put LeBron James on there, and then maybe, I don't think Jimmy Butler is going to come. I think that Pat Riley is going to want way too much compensation.
We'll get Paul George.
No, I don't want Paul George. Paul George wasn't great back then. He could score a couple of buckets, but he's not great.
What about Donovan Mitchell? What about Donovan Mitchell?
Better. I also heard that
they could play for Durant. That way you don't win.
And I was also thinking on the Nets. Who's on the Nets? And I'm not talking Ben Simmons either. The guy from Villanova. They actually drafted him.
McCall Bridges?
Yeah, Mikal Bridges. I think that he's available. So that they may go after him. And I think that we're going to find out, because of the way they did this. We're going to find out if Daryl Morey can actually build a championship team.
Yeah.
I don't know that he can, but we're going to find that out. And it may be the fact that in the process of that, he winds up drafting Bronny James with I think it's the 55th pick.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I could see something like that coming together.
And then, ultimately you win a championship, and now you've got father and son winning championships together. And his son going to a top 5 high school for basketball.
Right.
And then LeBron retires. Bronny goes to the G League.
And the son
is out somewhere in like Italy or somewhere next year.
Yeah, the son winds up getting drafted 2 years later. Because I think the truth of the matter is that if that was to occur, LeBron James could stay on this team as like an 8th player. He'd be a great number 8 or 7 on this team. You know what I mean? And wait for all the sons to come.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if that would work like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I don't know. You know what I do care about? I want to see a parade. So I don't care who they get. They could get Gandhi and the Pope on this team. And if they could score baskets and get some friggin' rebounds and win a championship, I'm game. I don't care who it is. Win championships.
Yeah, y'all are definitely in a rut over there in Philly.
You guys ain't won a championship in basketball since you were born. So I don't want to hear it.
That's not necessarily true, sir. I'm pretty sure it was a 93 and 95 type episodes with Kim Olajuwon. So watch your mouth.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So you were,
matter of fact, we got them back to back.
Bit.
How
You were
about
what,
them
12,
apples? We got them
13?
back to back. What do you got out there in Philly since Dr. J left?
That's
Damn
it,
thing,
12 or
son.
13?
Huh?
You were what, 12 and 13?
Yeah, but when the Rockets got their championships, I was actually out in Japan on the USS Blue Ridge at that time when they got both of their championships. The one against the Knicks and the one against Shaq's Magic. Both of them I was out at sea.
Got you. Well, so you didn't get to see him at all.
No, we got to see him on the satellite.
What he's saying is he's actually the bad luck, and if he wants one of his teams to win, he needs to go out to sea.
There you go.
There you go. If it works.
It doesn't matter because I guess that was the last time the Cowboys were any good either. There's a trend.
Yeah, about the same time period. You're right. About the same time period.
I mean, the other trend is the Houston Astros were good until Jay moved to Texas.
That's not true. We just won the World. We just won the. Well, that's true. Well,
He's like, oh no, I can't argue with logic.
Yeah, and well, I was gonna say that they did win on the first one because of good trash cans. You know,
That's right. That's right.
always got to throw it in there every time.
Well, it's okay to throw it in there. I just need just a little bit better oomph to it. It's like you're just regurgitating shit, and that's just not fun. But let's make it fun.
Hey, listen. That's why they changed your trophy from the flags going up to a trash can. Where the flags are in there.
Now you're trying to. You know what? I'm gonna just take a break. Take a deep breath. Come back tomorrow or the following day, and we'll revisit.
That is everything that ever comes out of a Cowboys fan is just regurgitating shit.
Exactly, over and over again.
It's our year, we them boys. We're going home early.
Again.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You got one Super Bowl. Take it easy over there with Russell Wilson, okay? Calm yourself. You get one little Super Bowl, and all of a sudden, a big bad Seattle. Okay, calm yourself.
So, to be fair, we've been to 3 since you've been there.
Yeah, but you've only won one, though.
Yeah, but we've been there.
We've been there, too.
Not since you got it out of the service.
You sure haven't.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
You haven't even been to the championship game. What the hell are we
Well,
talking
you know what? Terry's gonna die at some point. Okay, calm down.
Did you realize there's only two or three Cowboys on the actual roster that were alive the last time the Cowboys even were in a Super Bowl?
Yeah, and they're part of the coaching
You realize
staff.
there's nobody alive? No, it's like you never won a Super Bowl. But anyway,
it doesn't matter to me.
well, people ain't never won stuff. They're the first ones that want to talk stuff. It's okay.
And on that note, we are at the top of the hour. So before we trigger somebody in the wrong direction, piss somebody off, we are going to call it a day.
Ship sailed on that.
Yeah, exactly. That's gone.
If you happen to be in Linwood, I am going to go to Wild Wings for lunch. And so if you're up there about noon, a buddy of mine and I are going to go get some wings. So say hi. Say hi.
Some Buffalo Wild Wings. Go get them while they're hot. In the meantime, tomorrow I will not be there, but hopefully everybody else will. I will be back again on Wednesday. I may try to stop in real fast, but like I said, I got to get all this paperwork filed and done if I want to get everything together the way I want to. So I will be back on Wednesday, bright and shiny the way I am. So I'll only get to miss one day. Hopefully nothing too exciting will happen while I'm gone. In the meantime, everybody have a great Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.